Hello everyone, Chuck Northside Guy. Today sharing recent vintage pickups. I cover a number of years. I have a comment about what is the definition of vintage towards the end of this video. First up, two T206 acquisitions. I continue to just chip away at cards that interest me with this set. I love the background. Look at that rich color. And one side part of the T206 collection that I'm doing is trying to get as many of the unique backs. And so here what you see is a Southern League Old Mill. And I can't tell you how many auctions I lost on Heritage and REA. There is a rabid tribe of collectors who are just collecting the Old Mill Southern League. So I was very excited to get this one. Didn't get it in the preferred 6, but I did get in a 5.5. And I'm really grateful to add this card and this back to my collection. So I'm at 22 of the 38 unique backs. Gonna keep chipping away. Next up are two cards from the 70s. I mentioned in my last video, shout out to TJ Maxx. And I was a young boy in the hobby in the late 70s, early 80s. And of course, the heroes of the day are players that, like you see here. And I'm just picking up select cards, not building a set, just going through and finding cards that I just like. Of course, Dr. J, look at that card, and then Thurman Munson on the left. For any of you old enough to remember, there was a movie in 1979 called The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Any of you guys watch that? My sister and I went to the community house in our town, and that movie was played for kids. And I remember it. I walked out of there. I said to my sister, that was my favorite movie ever. And she agreed with me as well. Just watched it recently. It is campy. It is fun. It is dated. Dr. J is in the movie, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Anyway, this card reminds me of the enjoyment I had of that movie. And of course, Dr. J was everything when I was a young fan. Finally, I picked up this card. And of course, it's obviously known to all of you. And you might say, well, Chuck, why are you calling this vintage? So here's what I'd like to toss around. I have heard 1980 as kind of a cutoff for what vintage is. And my challenge is a generation is defined as 30 years. And 1980, in all due respect, is 42 years ago. So this Mattingly card is 38 years ago. And I would make a claim that as the years pass and as we all get older, that maybe vintage, maybe a card that's 38 years old can be counted as vintage. What do you think? Does vintage ever move? Does vintage stop at 1980? Well, what do we call 1980 until, the massive printing of the late 80s, early 90s? Is that modern? Is ultra modern just the most recent 3 years? So anyway, I'm being a little snarky and playful here, but I'm glad to add this card. It was a chase card, and just grateful to have this added to my boyhood collection. Really nice version of Don Mattingly. Well, that's it. I have, there's a bunch of auctions this month, Memory Lane and Heritage. I have some new targets for what I'm looking to collect, and I'm eager, if I win, to share that with you. In the meantime, happy collecting. Take care, everyone.